Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going underground to explore the fascinating world of caves.
Ooh, caves. Those are pretty cool.
Right. I've been digging into a bunch of research on them, podcast transcripts, articles, even some personal notes from spelunkers, and it's amazing how much there is to learn.
I bet. What kind of stuff are we looking at?
Well, everything from how those incredible cave formations are created to why limestone caves seem to be everywhere.
Oh, yeah, limestone caves. Why are those so common anyway?
That's one of the things I was wondering too. And then what about things like glacier caves and lava tubes? Those seem totally different.
Yeah, I mean, one's made of ice and the other's from volcanoes, right?
Exactly. So many different kinds of caves, all these unique features. I'm really excited to dive into all of this with you and see what we can unearth.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I know we all have a general idea that caves are formed by water-dissolving rock, but my research mentioned a specific pH range that's ideal for this process.
A specific pH. What's so special about that?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Well, think about it this way. It's not just about the water being acidic. It's about finding the right level of acidity to really get things moving.
Ah, so it's like a sweet spot for chemical weathering.
You got it. That pH range of 4 to 6 is where carbonic acid, which forms when rainwater absorbs carbon dioxide, is most effective at dissolving the calcium carbonate in limestone.
That makes sense. And that probably explains why limestone is so central to cave formation.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, around 90% of the world's caves are formed in limestone.
90%, that's incredible.
Right. It really highlights how significant this chemical dance between water and rock truly is.
Okay, so we've got the acidic water, the limestone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just static water doing the work, is it? My notes mention something called speleogenesis.
Paleogenesis.
Yeah, and something about the importance of groundwater flow.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial. It's not just about water sitting there dissolving a rock. It's this constant flow that really shapes those caves.
So it's like a dynamic process, not just a slow and steady drip, drip, drip.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You've got this intricate web of underground rivers and streams, constantly delivering fresh acidic water to the limestone and carrying away the dissolved material.
So it's both weathering and erosion working together.
Yep. And all this movement and flow, it's what accelerates the weathering process and creates those huge caverns we see in pictures.
Wow, so it's like a sculptor, not just chiseling away, but also sweeping away the debris to reveal the form underneath.
I like that. And just like a sculptor uses different tools, those varying flow patterns and the volume of water, those all contribute to the incredible diversity of cave formations we see.
It's amazing to think about those massive underground spaces being carved out by something as seemingly simple as water.
Right. Nature's a pretty impressive artist.
Speaking of which, all this talk about limestone makes me wonder, are there caves that aren't formed in limestone?
Oh, absolutely. While limestone is the most common, nature has other ways of making caves, like lava tubes, for instance.
Lava tubes. So those are formed by volcanoes, right?
Exactly. Imagine molten lava flowing, and as the surface cools and hardens, it creates a crust.
Okay, so the lava is still flowing underneath.
Yeah, it keeps flowing underneath that crust, and eventually it can drain out completely, leaving behind a hollow tube.
Wow, a tunnel carved by fire.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's incredible. And then you've got glacier caves, which are completely different.
Totally different. Those are carved out by meltwater within the glacier itself.
So it's like an ice cave with all these tunnels and chambers.
Exactly. It's a whole different world in there.
So you could have a cave formed by fire and another formed by ice. It's amazing how nature works.
I know. And speaking of ice, if you were to go into a glacier cave, you definitely wouldn't need your swimsuit.
Haha, why is that?
Because it's freezing in there. The temperature hovers right around freezing, which makes them pretty fragile and prone to collapse.
Oh, wow. So it's this delicate balance of ice and water.
It is. Quite a contrast to the fiery birth of a lava tube.
From fire to ice, nature has a talent for creating these hidden wonders.
It sure does. And we haven't even talked about the formations inside those caves yet. Those are what really make each cave unique.
Right. I was just looking at my notes about those. Stalactites, stalagmites, soda straws, flow stone. It's incredible how many different formations there are.
And they're all so beautiful and intricate. Like stalactites, for instance. There are those icicle-shaped formations that hang from the cave ceiling.
Oh, yeah. I've seen pictures of those. How do those form?
Well, it all starts with water, of course. Mineral-laden water slowly drips from the ceiling, and over time, it deposits calcite, building up that icicle shape.
So it's like a slow, steady drip, drip, drip over thousands of years.
Exactly. And then you have stalagmites, which form on the floor directly below.
Ah, so it's those drips that create the stalagmites, too.
You got it. As the water drips from the stalactite and hits the floor, it deposits more calcite, slowly building up those formations that rise up from the ground.
And I read something about soda straws, too. Are those related?
They are. Think of a soda straw as a baby stalactite. It's that delicate, hollow tube that forms from the dripping water. Eventually, it can become a full-fledged stalactite.
Wow, so all these formations are connected, all created by this simple process of dripping water.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is. And my notes also mention something called flowstone.
Ah, flowstone. That's where the water flows over the walls or the floor, and it leaves behind these thin layers of calcite that build up over time.
So instead of dripping, it's more like a sheet of water flowing over the surface.
Exactly. And it creates these smooth, sheet-like formations that can be incredibly beautiful.
And then there are these squiggles. My notes have a sketch of something called a helictite.
Helictite.
It's this twisted, gravity-defying formation. What on earth causes those?
Those are some of the most bizarre formations. It's like nature decided to get a little abstract.
Right. It's like a stalactite that's growing in all directions at once.
Exactly. And it's all thanks to this complex interplay of capillary action and air currents within the cave.
So it's not just gravity influencing those formations.
Nope. It's a combination of factors, and it creates these twisted, gravity-defying shapes that are truly unique.
Nature is full of surprises.
Yeah.
We could spend all day talking about these formations, but there's something else I wanted to touch on. The sheer scale of some of these caves.
Oh, yeah. Some of them are absolutely massive. We're talking caverns so big you could fit several jumbo jets inside.
Right. I have notes about some of the world's most impressive caves, like Mammoth Cave in Kentucky.
Ah, Mammoth Cave, the longest cave system in the world, with over 420 miles mapped.
420 miles, that's mind-boggling.
It is. It's a whole underground world waiting to be explored.
And then there's Veryovkina Cave, which plunges over 7,250 feet deep.
That one's the deepest known cave on Earth. Imagine the journey to the bottom of that.
It would be incredible. And then the Sarawak Chamber in Malaysia, which is so vast, it's incredible to think about the range of scales we're talking about here, from microscopic chemical reactions to caverns that defy comprehension.
It really shows the power of nature, doesn't it?
It does. But beyond the sheer wonder of it all, caves also play a crucial role in our environment.
Oh, absolutely. They're vital to the ecosystem and the water cycle.
Right, like in karst regions, where caves act as these natural reservoirs, storing and filtering vast amounts of groundwater.
Exactly. They're literally the lifeblood of those areas.
So protecting caves isn't just about preserving their beauty, it's about protecting a vital resource.
That's a really important point.
And there's so much more to explore about those unique ecosystems and the challenges they face. But I think we'll save that for our next segment.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, those cave ecosystems are really something else. It's like a whole different world down there.
I know. It's like stepping into a fantasy novel, all these creatures that have adapted to life in complete darkness.
Right, like blind salamanders and glowworms. It's pretty incredible.
I was just looking at my notes about some of these creatures.
What kind of stuff did you find?
Was this blind salamander called an olm. Apparently it lives in European caves, has pale skin and feathery gills.
An olm. I've never heard of that one.
Me neither. But it sounds pretty otherworldly.
It does. And being blind, it must have some pretty amazing adaptations to survive in that environment.
Yeah, it's evolved heightened senses of touch and smell, and it can even detect vibrations in the water.
Wow, so even without sight, it can navigate and hunt effectively.
It's amazing how life finds a way, isn't it?
It is. It's a testament to the power of evolution.
And then there are the glowworms. Those are actually insect larvae that create sticky threads to capture prey.
Oh yeah, glowworms. Imagine being in a cave and looking up to see all those tiny glowing points in the darkness.
It would be magical.
It would.
But it makes you wonder, how do these ecosystems even get the energy they need to survive without sunlight?
That's a great question. I mean, in most ecosystems, the sun is the primary energy source, right?
Exactly. So how does it work in caves?
Well, in caves, the energy comes from organic matter that washes in from the outside world.
Ah, so things like leaves and twigs.
Yep. Even animal carcasses. It's a constant trickle-down of nutrients from the surface that supports that whole hidden food web.
Wow, so it's like a lifeline from the world above.
It is. And caves also provide crucial shelter for many creatures, especially bats.
Speaking of bats, they often get a bad rap, but they play such an important role in the ecosystem.
They do. Unfortunately, they're often misunderstood.
Yeah, I was reading about how many bat species are voracious insectivores. They eat tons of mosquitoes and agricultural pests.
Right. They're like little flying pest control agents.
Exactly. And they also help with pollination and seed dispersal.
So they're really doing a lot of good for the environment.
They're unsung heroes, for sure.
Totally.
Okay, but back to caves themselves. How do scientists even study these environments? It seems like it would be incredibly challenging.
It is. I mean, you're working in complete darkness, often in tight spaces. You might have to rappel down deep shafts.
It sounds like an adventure.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding. There's so much to learn about these hidden realms.
Like what kind of things?
Well, for example, cave sediments can preserve pollen and spores, even ancient DNA, giving us insights into past climates and ecosystems.
Wow, so it's like a time capsule of Earth's history.
Exactly. And some caves have yielded the remains of extinct animals, like giant sloths and saber-toothed cats.
It's incredible to think about those creatures roaming the Earth.
I know. It gives you a real sense of deep time, you know?
It does. And speaking of deep time, I came across this term in my research, paleoclimatology.
Paleoclimatology?
Yes, the study of past climates. And apparently caves can tell us a lot about that.
Oh, absolutely. Caves are like these incredibly stable environments, shielded from the fluctuations of the outside world, making them excellent recorders of past climate conditions.
Right, because they're not exposed to the elements.
Exactly. And those stalactites and stalagmites we talked about earlier, those grow layer by layer over thousands of years.
So each layer represents a different point in time.
Yes. And each layer traps tiny bubbles of air and traces of minerals that reflect the climate conditions at the time they formed.
So it's like a climate record written in stone.
Precisely. And scientists can analyze those layers to reconstruct past temperatures, rainfall patterns, even atmospheric composition.
That's incredible. So we can actually look back hundreds of thousands of years and see how Earth's climate has changed.
We can. It's like having a time machine.
And understanding how the climate has fluctuated in the past can help us understand how it might respond to current trends.
Exactly. It gives us valuable insights into the future of our planet.
It makes you realize that these caves, these hidden worlds beneath our feet, could hold the key to understanding our planet's future.
They really could.
It's both exciting and a little bit daunting, isn't it?
It is. But that's the beauty of exploration. There's always something new to discover.
And exploration isn't just about venturing into the physical unknown. It can also be a journey of the mind.
That's a great point. Think about archaeologists piecing together fragments of ancient civilizations, or biologists decoding the secrets of cave-dwelling organisms.
Right. It's about pushing the boundaries of our understanding, venturing into uncharted intellectual territory.
So whether we're rappelling down a deep shaft or peering through a microscope, it's all about the thrill of discovery and the pursuit of knowledge.
It's about that sense of wonder and the desire to learn more about the world around us.
And who knows what wonders await us in those uncharted realms of science, history, and the natural world.
The possibilities are endless.
They are. Perhaps the most profound discoveries are yet to come.
It's a thought that fills me with both awe and anticipation.
Me too.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the chemistry of cave formation to the delicate ecosystems they support.
And we even explored their role as time machines, revealing Earth's ancient past.
It's been quite a journey. But there's one more fascinating aspect of caves we haven't touched on yet, their connection to human history and culture.
Ooh, that's a good one. Caves have played such an important role in human history.
I know. It's fascinating how these subterranean spaces have shaped our art, our beliefs, and even our sense of who we are.
It makes you wonder, what secrets do they hold about our past?
Exactly, and that's what we'll be exploring in our next segment. We explore the science of caves, their ecosystems, how they're formed, all that good stuff.
They've gone pretty deep.
We have. But there's another layer to these underground worlds that I find really fascinating. Their connection to us, to human history and culture.
Oh, absolutely. Caves have played such a huge role in human history, haven't they? It's amazing how these subterranean spaces have shaped our art, our beliefs, even our sense of who we are.
It's like they're these hidden chapters in the human story.
Right, like those ancient cave paintings that date back tens of thousands of years.
Exactly. Can you imagine venturing into the darkness with just a flickering torch and creating these incredible works of art?
It's mind-boggling. What do you think those paintings tell us about our ancestors?
Well, the images themselves, animals, handprints, symbols, I think they offer us a glimpse into their beliefs, their fears, even their understanding of the world around them.
It's like a visual whisper from the past, a direct link to the minds of those who came before us.
It's as if they were trying to communicate across time, sharing their experiences with future generations.
And some of those caves, they're not just places of art, they're considered sacred sites.
Oh, absolutely. Many cultures around the world have attributed spiritual significance to caves. They've been seen as portals to the underworld, places of initiation, dwellings of powerful deities.
So it's not just about the physical space, it's about the meaning and stories we project onto them.
Exactly. Caves become imbued with this sense of mystery and power, becoming focal points for rituals, ceremonies, pilgrimages.
They offer a connection to something larger than ourselves, both in terms of time and spirituality.
I can only imagine what it must have been like to experience those spaces, by the light of a torch, surrounded by ancient paintings, steeped in those beliefs.
It must have been incredibly powerful.
And what I find really fascinating is that these traditions haven't disappeared. Even today, in some parts of the world, caves continue to be used for religious ceremonies and spiritual practices.
Right, they're not just relics of the past, they're living, breathing spaces that continue to shape human experience.
And even for those of us who don't ascribe a spiritual significance to caves, there's still this sense of awe and wonder that they evoke.
Oh, absolutely. There's something about stepping into a cave, into that darkness and silence, that really connects you to the earth, to the vastness of time.
They remind us of the power of natural forces and that enduring connection between humans and the earth.
And I think that's why caves continue to capture our imaginations, They offer this sense of mystery, a feeling of stepping into a world untouched by time.
They challenge our perceptions, ignite our curiosity, and remind us that there's still so much out there to explore and discover.
Both within ourselves and in the world around us.
So from the depths of the earth to the heights of human imagination, we've explored the science, the ecosystems, the history, the cultural significance of these incredible underground worlds.
It's been quite the deep dive.
It has. But what's truly amazing is that we've only just scratched the surface.
There are countless caves yet to be explored, mysteries yet to be uncovered, stories yet to be told.
That's what makes them so captivating. They're a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still places where wonder and discovery await.
Absolutely.
So to our listener, keep exploring, keep questioning, and who knows what incredible insights you might unearth.
And remember, the next time you find yourself gazing up at a mountain or a vast landscape, take a moment to consider the hidden world beneath your feet.
In that darkness and silence lies a realm of beauty, mystery, and endless possibility, waiting to be explored.
What a beautiful thought.
It is. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.